Hello there, Akko here again. This is what should be the last video in the Valuable Beast series. Before we get started on things back at the house, we want to go to some kind of wintry biome. This is a tundra, somewhere where it's nice and cold and got snow on the ground. You're going to want to set up your little single apiary system there, and you're going to want to get a scoop, find some of these guys. You want wintry drone, wintry princess, and stick them in there. We'll come back in about an hour or so for that. So I'm going to head back to the house and carry on with the rest of this. Now the reason, I should explain, the reason for this is now we've got most of our setup ready for breeding. I know I've mentioned it before, but we're going to want this trait, this fertility trait, four drones per queen. So yeah, leave that in there for a couple of hours. Oh, interesting. It turns out this biome is not good enough, so I'll be back in a bit. As if that could even happen. You saw me get it from the hive right there. Right, I'll put this in a better place and I'll be back in a while. Okay, so I'm back again. I'm just in the biome behind my factory here. That's a wintry biome. It's a mountain taiga biome. And I've set the setup there. I've got the wintry bees in. You're going to need a flower nearby and you're going to keep it chunk loaded, so I'll just put a chunk loader there for now. I've just got that set to one chunk. I'm right on chunk lines though if you look at my radar there, so I'll set that to 2 radius, and that'll keep that loaded. So after a while, come back, we should have a few drones in there. We want up to 8-ish, so we don't have to keep this running long. And then we can go put them in the isolator and get the max fertility trait, which you're going to want. So after last time, we showed how to get to the industrious and imperial bees. We showed how to set up a system to start collecting your bee products. So you should have got to that stage. You should have industrious and imperial bees producing royal jelly, pollen. You should have a gene pool, so you should have liquid DNA in a tank. You should have liquid honey in a tank. And now we can get onto the business of actually breeding. Once you've got all that together, you're going to get something similar to this. You don't have, I mean, not exactly of course, but liquid honey, liquid DNA. You want to start making your genetic machines. You only need one of each really, but it's a little bit slower. But saying that, the power starves quite a lot anyway, so it's not particularly quick having more than one. It's just a bit easy to organise. So you're going to start want to get the traits you want. Now for breeding, all you really need is, for me, all you really need is that fast productivity one. All you really need is a max fertility one, because when you're crossbreeding and stuff, you want to get a few drones so you can isolate and get the species. Now, I don't get every species, but most of the useful species, I try and get the species serum. So whenever you do a step in breeding towards valuable, for example, you're going to want to get hold of the bees that are steps on the way to it, just in case your crossbreeding fails. You don't have to go through the entire process again, so you can just change any other kind of bee into the bees you need. So that's why we want that. So we're going to start using some of this stuff we built up now. I've got a little setup here. I'm using an advanced clay golem here just to keep this carpenter stocked. What this guy does is you can set him to keep a precise amount of items in an inventory. So I assign this guy to the carpenter there by right clicking him onto the carpenter. I put a chest nearby him with a marker block underneath. and I just put a lot of stuff in the chest there that you can use to keep that restocked. So that's what that's doing. It's keeping 64 of each of them in there, so that can keep producing the scented panelings. And I've just got a little system there pumping the scented panelings into project table. I've got a plan in there for an Alveary, so each time I come back I can just right click there and get more Alveary blocks. So once we're up to 27 we can make our breeding Alveary. So I'll be back then once I've got that made up top, and we can do the next bit. So I'll be back in a bit. Okay, so we're back, and in my project table now, plenty of scented paneling. You see I've got 27 Alveary blocks, and you're going to need some oak slabs, and some people may know what's coming with what I've got there. We'll get to that in a minute. So this is going to be our breeding Alveary. You can see I've expanded my roof a little bit because I'm going to cover the entire roof in Alvearies, I've decided. So yeah, 27 Alveary blocks, as I've shown before, like so. Whoops. So this essentially is, an Alveary like this is essentially the same as an apiary with three frames in it permanently. So this one's at 100% speed. So now we've got an Alveary, but we want this to be a breeder, so we're going to get rid of this for a minute because we're going to upgrade these. Now I'm going to take 5 of these, and I'll explain why in a minute. What we've got from extra bees is a thing called a mutator block. Now if you look at the recipe for this, see it takes some diamantine electron tubes, an Alveary block, and a couple of gold ingots, which is what this stuff's for. Now this can be quite expensive because you need some diamonds. So depending how far along you are in your resource gathering, determine how many of these you can make. But what you want to work out is what you're going to be breeding. So if you look at, again, if we look at our valuable bees, you see to get to valuable bees we have a 2% chance. Now mutator blocks can take various things. A nether star will multiply your chance of mutation by 50 times multiplication. So on that 2%, multiply that by 50, you've got 100% chance. Less than that, but equally useful for our purposes, is iridium ore. This gives a 10% multiplication. So 5 iridium ore, so 5 mutators with an iridium ore in each, is going to give you that 100% chance. But just before we actually make these, now that's for your final valuable bees, because they're the top of a tier. Now the bees to get valuable bees, so let's look at a glittering bee for example. To get a glittering bee, that's still a 2% chance. Resolute, that's a 5% chance, so you wouldn't need as many there. You wouldn't need the full. So to multiply that by 10, so that would be just 1, is that correct? So up to there, we should only need 1 mutator block. My maths could be completely out here, but I'm going to check that after I finish the video. No, you're going to need 2, aren't you? Of course. So if you've got the diamonds, just go ahead and make 5. So what we're going to need is ferment fabricator. Ignore all this stuff, I've been making some coloured glass, but you need there some glass, because that gets melted into liquid glass. And you're going to need, no, this is one of them shadow, no it's not, this actually uses up the things. So you're going to want that pattern, 5 diamonds, 2 redstone. It's going to give you 4 diamond electron tubes. So if we're going for a full 5 mutator blocks, you're going to need 10 of these. I've actually got 12 there, but that's all good. you need 10 gold, you need 5 Alveary blocks. What I'm going to do, that's going to change these 5 Alveary blocks into 5 mutator blocks. And now we can replace ones we took out with these. And now we've got a breeding Alveary. Now you can improve this further if you look at, if you watch Direwolf's channel, his episode yesterday, the rest of these, you can change all the blocks. You cannot change, the top 9 need to stay like this, because that's what creates the Alveary, but these bottom 27 blocks can all be changed. Now you could make the other blocks here into frame housings, you can put frames in there, and you can put chocolate frames in. Chocolate frames reduce the life of the bees, so you could instantly breed stuff if you were using chocolate frames. But I do this kind of passively. See, you could put frame housings in all these and run your bees a lot quicker, but I like to run things passively while I'm doing other things. There's a lot of things to do in Feed the Bees, so I don't do solely bees. I mix my stuff up. So having things set to run steady, slow and steady, is enough for me. But if you really want to see a kind of setup like that, feel free to ask in the comments, and I'll set some up to maximise production of both my normal Alvearies and a breeding Alveary. So what we can do now is we're essentially set up now to breed up to our valuable bees. So as I mentioned in the first video, none of this will be populated if you haven't done it yet, but if you went into creative and wrote down the path, you can see what you need to start making. So if we back pedal through these, we're making glittering bees, so for them we need noble and resolute. Now you should have some noble bees from breeding up to your imperial bees, so that's good. Resolute, we needed corroded and tarnished. Corroded and tarnished, I believe, come from the same place, which is a resilient, and a cultivated can give you both corroded and tarnished. Yep, so we've got cultivated bees. So resilient is our target for now. Resilient comes from tolerant and hardy. Tolerant starts off rocky with a diligent. We should have diligent from industrious bees. And hardy is rocky and tolerant. So we need tolerant bees twice in there. So that's our first thing we need to be going for. We need a tolerant bee. We've got a 15% chance to get a tolerant bee by putting in a rocky and a diligent. So I'll be back when I've got a rocky princess and a diligent drone, or vice versa. What we're going to do is we're going to put one uranium ore in there. So that's 15%. That's a 10 times multiplier, so that should give us a 150% chance of getting the bee we want. So I'll be back when I've got them. I'll stick them in there, and I'll come back just when they're about to die. So we're back. We've got our rocky queen here, which was bred with a diligent drone, and she's nearly dead. I just watched the previous bit back while I was waiting for this, and I was calling them iridium ore. They are, of course, uranium ores. I believe I called them iridium ores a few times, so ignore that. They're obviously uranium ores. That's what I meant. So if we wait a few seconds now, if my maths is correct and these work as I think they do, that uranium ore there should give us a guaranteed outcome of what we want here. Now, I've also heard that if I had a stack of these in here, it wouldn't work. The first one would work and it doesn't work. What you have to do is you have to put one at a time in. You put a stack in, the first run through will work, and then after that it won't. Now you see that uranium's gone, so that means we've finished. So as you can see, we've got tolerant princess, tolerant drone, which is what we was after. So now in your data bank, this should be there now. You can see the path we got to get tolerant. Now Tolerant can give us hardy and resilient. Now we need both hardy and resilient, don't we? So our next step would be to breed Rocky Princess, Tolerant Drone. Again, it's a 15% chance for both of these. So that'll get us to our next step. But what I'll do before that is, this is going to be a useful bee to keep. So if we bealize these, you see this has only got a 1-time fertility. And of course that's the same. Now I believe this should have given us a standard stats tolerant because it's been bred 100%. I could be wrong on that, but it should be exactly the same stats as we get in here. So slowest, shortest, one child. They're all tolerated because they're from rocky bees, which is good. So slowest and shortest, let's just see if that's correct. Slowest and shortest, so that is slightly different, so that must be because of the diligent bee we bred it with, maybe. Well, we've got a good bee there. So what I'd do next is I'd come down here, I'd get my maximum fertility serum, I'll go to my inoculator and I'll give both these bees maximum fertility, and then I'd run them through a standard Alveary or apiary for a couple of iterations. So I've got between 4 to 8 drones, and then run them through the isolator, you know the drill. Get the tolerant species serum and then start again. So our next bee, we needed, I believe it's another Rocky Princess, so I'll grab a fresh Rocky Princess, and I believe it was a tolerant drone we needed. So I'm just going to look for all my bees here, see if we've got tolerant queen there. I've got a resilient drone, I don't think I've got any tolerant drones. Nope, I've got tarnished. So yeah, they're all princesses. Just checking here. I've actually got hardy what we're going for there, but okay, so I can't do that yet. So what I'd have to do is I've actually already got tolerant species serum, so I don't need it, but you get the gist that you'd breed this up, you'd make you get your serum. So I'm just going to put that back in there too. It's actually, it hasn't used a charge yet, so that's alright. That's still all good. So I'll put these back. So once you've bred some tolerant bees up, got your serum, we do our next path, which I believe was Rocky and Tolerant, wasn't it? I'll just double check. It was hardy that we needed. And yeah, it was Rocky Princess, Tolerant Drone, or vice versa. So we'll use our Tolerant Drone there. We'll stick another uranium in. This is still a 15% chance, so that'll still give us a 100% breeding chance. We'll create the next version, which I believe is hardy. So you basically just follow this path. You keep doing this all the way, and at the end of it, you're going to have your valuable bees. So that's pretty much it. So that's the path to valuable bees. Now, once you've got your production bees, you're going to want a few stats on them. Obviously, from cultivated, you've got fast, which is what you want. From wintry, you've got your fertility that you want. Rocky gives you the 1 fertility if you're getting too many drones and you want to change your bees so they're not producing extras. Rocky bees, as I said in the video, are the best to start with because you get all this You get good climate tolerance, plus minus 2 both ways. That's good. They can work for the night. They can work when it's raining, and they can work in caves. So it's all good. The one other thing you're going to want to get, which what am I doing? We'll be as one of my valuables again, is this longest lifespan. Now that's a separate breeding path that you're going to want to go down, and that breeding path I'm going to show you, so there'll be some spoilers here, is a relic bee. That gives you the longest lifespan. And look at the breeding path for a relic bee. Prehistoric with an imperial. Prehistoric is a primeval with a majestic, which is part of the imperial line. Is it? Or is it an industrious line? One of them two. That comes from an ancient and a noble. Ancient is a noble and a diligent. So there's your path there. So that's you want to do that path to get your longest life. So, and that's your perfect bees. So you should have everything in place now to get to the bees that you want. So I hope this was all useful. If I've missed anything, or if there's anything else you want to see, just throw it in the comments. If you've found it useful, I don't want to be asking for likes and stuff in every video, but it would be very useful if you found it useful, so actually throw me a like. And I'm up to 24 subs. I want to thank everyone who's subbed for subbing. It's much appreciated. I was going to do a special thank you at the beginning of the episodes and the last few episodes I keep forgetting. So while I remember, thank you very much for subbing. It's much appreciated. I hope my videos are useful. Anything that you want me to work out, any kind of system or setup with piping or bees, I'm pretty good with most of the mods in FTB, so anything that you're wondering how to set up nice, tidy, compact, throw it in a comment or send me a PM and I'll see about doing it, because I quite enjoy setting systems up. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Cheers. Bye.